Monster Hunter World provides hunters with numerous tools and weapons to take on the beasts that roam the world. With each weapon comes a unique set of moves and mechanics that a hunter must master. With training and knowledge of these, a hunter can decimate the monstrous foes that lie in their way. I'm Darcblade, and in this video we're going to bring you a hunter's guide to the hammer. The hammer could be described as a very crude but efficient weapon. It is a powerful weapon, able to deal out a lot of damage. On top of that as well, the weapon actually comes with decent mobility. The hammer has some of the highest damaging combos in the game, however these combos are slow and it's best to incapacitate a monster before going for them. That being said though, because the hammer is blunt, it can make use of exhaust damage, or should you be attacking a monster's head, even knock them out, stunning them and allowing you to perform your longer, high damage combos. Despite being a large weapon as well, if you make use of the environment, the hammer can fly through the air, allowing for even more damage, whilst being flashy at the same time. Striving to go for monsters' weak points with this weapon, especially when it comes to the head, is your goal, and if you're able to achieve this, then you should bring down a monster quickly. But anyway, let's move on to talk about the basics of the hammer. The first basic move is your swing, which is done by moving and pressing triangle. This will draw your weapon and cause you to swing with the hammer. Next you have backswing, which is done by pressing triangle following the draw attack swing. You then have your side smash, which is done by moving and pressing triangle. The next move is your overhead smash 1, which is done by standing on the spot and pressing triangle. You then have your overhead smash 2, which is done after performing an overhead smash 1 and then pressing triangle. So that would be triangle on the spot and then triangle again. You can also go straight into overhead smash 2 following side smash attacks or the jumping smash attack. You then have your upswing, which is done by pressing triangle following an overhead smash 2. So that would be triangle, triangle, triangle to perform the upswing. Be careful, this move can launch your allies into the air. Next you have Big Bang 1 through to 4. Now all of these are done by pressing circle, and they're done in order. So the first circle would be Big Bang 1, second circle would be Big Bang 2, third would be Big Bang 3, and then your fourth press of the circle button would be Big Bang 4. Now should you manage to hit all 4 of these hits, then you can go into the Big Bang finisher by pressing circle a 5th time, which ends this combo string. Now the interesting thing about the Big Bang attacks is they can follow on from other combos, such as the overhead and upswing combo, but it should be noted that should you whiff any of the Big Bang attacks, as in you miss one of these Big Bang attacks, then the combo will drop and you would have to start again. With the weapon drawn as well, you can perform an evade roll by pressing the direction and X. Next is your charge move, which is done by pressing and then holding R2. Now this can be done either from a drawing position, mid-combo, or sliding down a hill, or whilst jumping mid-air. Now holding down the charge button will consume stamina and cause your hunter to charge up the weapon. Now there are 3 levels of charge which result in different moves, but we'll talk about the charge function more in the mechanics section. Anyway, whilst charging the weapon, so holding R2, you can either perform a power charge by pressing circle. This will cause the charge energy to enhance your weapon, causing it to glow with a white aura. This can be difficult to see on some weapons, but it's something you need to strive for. This is because it enhances your attack and changes some of your basic abilities, namely the charged upswing and the charged Big Bang. Anyway, next is the charged side blow, which is done by either tapping R2 or holding it until your hunter flashes once, indicating you're at level 1, and then releasing. This can then be followed up by other moves to start a combo. Next is the charged follow-up attack, which is done following a charged side blow by pressing triangle. After this you can perform other moves and go into other combos. Next is the charged upswing, which is done by charging your weapon, and then once your hunter flashes twice, indicating you've reached level 2, and then releasing. Now if you have power charged your weapon, then performing this move will replace it with the charged brutal upswing instead. Now be careful because these upswing attacks can launch your allies, so beware of your position. Next is the charged Big Bang, which is done by holding R2 and then once your hunter flashes 3 times, indicating you've reached level 3, whilst standing still, release the button. This will perform the charged Big Bang attack. However, you can perform a spinning bludgeon instead by holding R2 and when you flash 3 times indicating you've reached level 3, whilst walking release the button and your hunter will perform the spinning bludgeon. This is an attack that causes your hunter to spin around multiple times with the hammer. Now you'll continue spinning and after about 5 or so spins your hunter will get dizzy and you'll go into a recover animation. However, you can perform different moves by pressing triangle following the amount of spins you've performed with the spinning bludgeon. For example, after spinning 1 time, if you press triangle, you'll perform a spinning side smash. If you press triangle following 2 to 3 spins, you'll perform a spinning follow-up attack. And then finally, if you press triangle following 4 or 5 spins, you'll perform a spinning strong upswing. Next is the charged brutal Big Bang. Now this is performed in exactly the way you perform the normal charged Big Bang attack, but it requires you to have the power charge first. So you would charge your weapon R2, then press circle to perform the power charge, then go back into holding R2 again, and then when it charges up to level 3, stand still, release R2 to perform the charged brutal big bang, which is a very hard hitting move. A lot of these moves following the spin and bludgeon follow-up attacks can be comboed into other moves, so that is something to be aware of. But anyway, let's move away from the basic moves to talk about the unique mechanics of the hammer. Now the hammer doesn't have many mechanics. The first is its charging function. Now I've covered a lot of this already in the basic moves, but the way the charge function works is by holding R2. This will cause your hunter to steadily start to glow red. Now depending how long you hold R2 for, will cause your hunter to rise in levels or tiers. For holding the R2 button for a short time, your hunter will glow slightly red, indicating you're level 1. Hold it for a little bit longer, and it will reach level 2, indicated by your hunter gaining a larger red aura. And then if you hold it for even longer, your hunter will have a large red aura around them, indicating you're at level 3 and the highest level you can get. Now unlike the greatsword, which also has a charge function, you can't overcharge the hammer, so you don't have to worry about holding the charge for long. The only downside about holding the charge is it will consume your stamina, so that is something to keep an eye on. However, unlike other charged weapons in the game, whilst you're charging the hammer, you're still able to move, making the hammer quite mobile. This will allow you to get into position to cause the most damage. It also is an opportunity to get out of the way and still keep your charge. Now whilst it may feel more natural to go for a level 3 charge, there are some moves and combos where it's okay to attack from a level 1 or level 2 position. Some of the highest damage combos for the hammer only require you to charge to level 1, for example, but we'll talk about that more in the useful combo section. The other mechanic for the hammer is the power charge. Now whilst charging the weapon, no matter what level charge it is, if you press circle you'll perform the power charge. This will store the charged energy into your hammer, increasing your attack and enhancing some of your moves. Whilst you have a power charge active, this will turn your charged upswing into a charged brutal upswing, and your charged big bang into a charged brutal big bang. Now your weapon will stay in this power charge state so long as you have the weapon drawn, and so long as you are not hit. So as soon as you take damage or you sheath the weapon, the power charge will go. Now this damage can come from other places, for example monsters' roars can cause you to lose the power charge, or even getting hit by allies can cause you to lose it too. As I said, you can tell your weapon is power charged by the white aura around it. Now this can be difficult to see on some weapons, but nonetheless, make a habit of trying to charge your weapon every time you draw it. Now whilst the weapon is charged, it should be noted you can continue to still use charged attacks and moves. The power charge is just basically a little self buff you're giving yourself. The last mechanic worth mentioning is the fact that the weapon is a blunt weapon. Now blunt weapons are next to useless when it comes to severing damage and cutting off monster parts and that, but they do have two bonuses. Now if you should hit a monster's body parts, legs, arms, so on, then you will be causing exhaust buildup on the monster. An exhausted monster will run out of stamina and become tired. They will start drooling at the mouth and become very sluggish, or in a best case scenario, they'll stop on the spot to get their breath back. This gives you ample time to perform your longer combos with the hammer. Now should you attack a monster's head with the hammer, as it's a blunt weapon, you will cause KO or stun damage, which can eventually result in the monster being knocked out and flung to the floor. Knocked out monsters will have stars around their head and will become immobile for a short period. Again, this can lead to the hammer being able to perform its longer damage combos. So if you do have a hammer user in your group, try to let them attack the head, as knocking a monster out during a hunt is very useful. But anyway, let's move away from the mechanics of the hammer to talk about the useful combos. Now a lot of the hammer's moves can be intertwined with one another. A lot of the charging moves and the basic triangle attacks can merge into the big bang combos and so on. So there are a lot of options. However, these are the combos I tend to use the most. Now these combos I am going to assume you have activated the power charge, so that's R2 and then circle. Afterwards, the first basic combo would be the upswing combo, which is done by moving towards a monster and pressing triangle for a side smash, pressing triangle again for an overhead smash 2, and then triangle a third time for an upswing. This is a quick combo that doesn't require a lot of time to perform. You can augment this slightly by adding a charged side blow to the combo to increase its damage slightly. This is done by holding and charging R2, then releasing after you've reached level 1 to perform the charged side blow. You then press triangle to perform a charged follow-up attack. Then you press triangle for an overhead smash 1, triangle again for an overhead smash 2, and then finally triangle a third time for that upswing. This deals decent damage in a short window. As a lot of the hammer combos are quite long and have lengthy animations, these two combos are probably ones you should strive for when the monster is still quite active. The next useful combo is another variation of the upswing combo, and this utilizes the charged upswing or charged brutal upswing into the mix. So you charge your weapon holding R2 till you reach level 2, then release to perform the charged brutal upswing, which will push you towards the monster. After which you go into side smash with triangle, then your overhead smash 2 with another triangle, and then finally your upswing with another triangle. Now whilst this may not be the highest damaging combo out there, this combo allows you to close the gap easily on monsters. Next is the Big Bang combo, which is done simply by pressing circle 5 times in a row. Now unfortunately this is best used on incapacitated monsters, as if any of these attacks miss, then the combo will drop and you'll have to start again. Nonetheless though, this is a high damage combo. You can augment this slightly as well to increase its damage by again adding the charged side blow, so that would be holding R2 till level 1, release to perform the charged side blow. You then press triangle to perform a charged follow-up attack, and then go into the Big Bang combo, which is circle 5 times. Unfortunately this is a really lengthy combo, so again it's best used when a monster is incapacitated and when you have easy access to hit their head. Overall this is the highest damage dealing combo you can do with the hammer, but unfortunately it is situational. Next is the spinning bludgeon combo, which is simply holding R2 till you reach level 3, move on the left stick, then release R2, and then after 4 or 5 spins press triangle to perform the spinning strong upswing for the final hit. Whilst this is not the most effective of combos, this can be a quick way of inflicting status ailments, and it's sometimes just fun to do. As I said though, a lot of the combos can be intertwined with one another, and you can change them up how you wish. So work with what is best for you and what the fight allows for. Anyway, let's move away from the useful combos to talk about the aerial and environmental moves of the hammer. Now the hammer is an interesting weapon that can make use of the environment. First of all, if you should jump off a ledge and press triangle, or run up a wall or tree you can run up and then press triangle, you'll perform a jumping smash. Next is the sliding charge, which is done by sliding and then holding R2. This will cause you to charge your hammer while sliding down a slope. You can then follow up with numerous moves. You can stop and perform a power charge by pressing circle. You can jump by pressing X and then follow it up with various jumping charge attacks by pressing triangle. This will change depending on the level you've charged the weapon to. Or you can simply release R2 to perform the amazing mid-air spinning bludgeon. This is a very flashy move, and it can also be done by charging the weapon, so holding R2 and then running into a wall or tree you can run up and then releasing. As well as being flashy, it is actually quite effective, hitting a monster multiple times and allowing for easy mounts. The jumping charge attacks I mentioned earlier as well, they can be performed whilst holding R2 and then running off a ledge, and depending on the level of your charge, it will result in different jumping charge attacks. These range between 1 to 3. Should be noted as well when it comes to mounting a monster, once you're ready to bring it down, this weapon is a charge weapon, so you can charge your hammer up to 3 times before delivering the final blow. But anyway, let's move on to talk about the additional tips for the hammer. As I mentioned, while charging the weapon, you can still move. So you can use this to reposition yourself or avoid monsters' attack while still being ready to attack back at the monster. Now while some of the attacks have a long recover animation, this can be cancelled out of by utilising the evade roll if need be. Sometimes as well these long animations can be cancelled out of by going back into charging the weapon again. The next additional tip would be to utilise traps and the environment to cause your prey to become immobile. This will allow you to deal the most damage, as you'll be able to perform the various Big Bang combos on a monster's head. With that in mind as well, also try to keep your weapon charged with the power charge to allow the weapon to become stronger, as well as allow you access to those augmented attacks. Another tip would be to make use of the Rocksteady mantle, as this will prevent you from losing your power charge when you're actually hit by a monster. Finally as well, try to be accurate with your attacks. Thanks to the blunt weapon and the KO effect it can potentially cause on a monster, you want to always try to aim for the monster's head. Of course if you can't, then going for their body will still cause exhaust damage, but the head should be the priority. But anyway, let's move on to talk about the pros and cons of the hammer. Now the biggest pro for the hammer is its sheer damage output. It's a very high damaging weapon. Its combos, whilst long, are some of the highest in the game. On top of that, the next pro is the fact that it's a blunt weapon. It can both exhaust and KO monsters, which will in turn allow the hammer, and indeed the whole hunting party, to increase their overall damage output thanks to the monster being immobile. And finally, the last major pro is the hammer is a mobile weapon. You're able to charge the weapon and still stay on the move. It also has numerous fast moving aerial and environmental moves that you can use to your advantage. However, on the flip side, when it comes to its major cons, unfortunately despite having high damage, the combos are long. This is thanks to a slow attack speed. Each attack has quite a lengthy animation, and in order to get your highest damaging combos pulled off, you need to normally incapacitate a monster first. And the other con is unfortunately the weapon does tend to have a short reach despite being a two-handed weapon. Nonetheless though, some of the hitboxes can be deceptive, especially when it comes to the Big Bang attacks. but this is something you're going to get used to the more you use the hammer. Overall, the hammer is a damage dealer's dream. Whilst there are certain limitations, as in you can't sever monster body parts and that is made up by the fact that you can often knock out monsters, exhaust them, break monster horns, and get the pure satisfaction about bludgeoning a monster's head. I will strive that taking traps into a battle when using a hammer will help in the long run. You should also strive to always have the power charge active and make use of the charge mechanics the hammer has. Remember as well to judge the situation to what best combo to use. If the monster is quite active, still moving around, fairly mobile, then going for the shorter combos is optimal when compared to the longer big bang combos. Once the monster does become incapacitated, then go for the kill with those hard-hitting, longer combos. If you're a player who loves to be a damage dealer and you can land the precise hits on a monster's head, then I can strongly recommend the hammer. Now remember that the damage numbers and effectiveness of the weapons can vary due to numerous factors, from gears, buffs, monster defenses to even the environment. All of these can help or hinder a weapon's performance. With that in mind, learning as much as you can about a weapon can help achieve a successful hunt. Anyway, I hope you found this video informative, and until next time, I've been Darcblade, bringing you a hunter's guide to the hammer in Monster Hunter World. Hope you enjoyed the video, thanks for watching, subscribe and like for more.